In this video, travel adapters will be looked at, both the sort of safe kind and some death adapters. There are so many kinds on the market now that it's hard to choose something. The fact is, nearly everything you choose, regardless of price, is going to work. It might not last long, but it is going to work. So demonstrating functionality is not the point here. It's more about nuance. Will it work well, and is it, at least apparently, more safe to use? So today I have a couple travel adapters, the older Zender Passport 3 and the 12 South Plug Bug with 120 watts and 4 ports, as well as a whole bunch of cheap adapters. Okay, so first up is the Zender Passport 3. It's a brick with a bunch of adjustable fingers in it. It has a somewhat respectable size USB power adapter built in as well. It does feel like a larger device, but considering the adapters are built in, it is about as small and simple as it can get. But when you try to be a jack of all trades, you generally are a master of none. So is this a good travel adapter and a good USB power adapter, or is it kind of okay at both, but at least it's only one piece? The adapter has 3 slide-out sections covering a fairly wide selection of plugs, certainly not everywhere. The face of the plug does have many country output socket thing, but it does at least have the plastic shutters, so they do make a bit difficult to get plugs in and out, but once fully inserted, they do seem secure. There is no safety listing on this device, but it does try to be a bit more safe. Time to do some measurements. First of all, the simplest is idle power consumption. This is basically plugging it in and seeing where it settles out for power consumption with nothing plugged in. This is often called vampire power or some other creature name, but if it's a lot and you have a lot of things plugged in all the time, it adds up to a measurable amount on your power bill. One device doesn't mean anything, but it's rare that people have one device anymore. These values hold true for leaving the USB-C cable plugged in, but when you add something like a now deprecated lightning cable, it can actually consume a small amount of power. If you add a wireless charging pad, that number generally is even higher. Next is a pretty important metric. This is energy efficiency. This is how good of a job the power adapter does at converting energy from the wall to energy in your device. The higher, the better. This is pretty complicated stuff, but in the end, it's power out divided by power in. In this case, the adapter's efficiency is good compared with other offerings, but it isn't all roses. The USB modes renegotiate as expected. The issue is the DC voltage ripple was high. This is the amount of change to the DC voltage while supplying power to your device. So at 0.5 volts, it might be 19.5 volts, but it might also be 20.0 volts. Devices further regulate this, but design dependent, this could be an issue. This confirms the jack of all trades theory. The detailed data is on Patreon. Other metrics. Thermally, this adapter is fine. It has quite a large surface area, and with the higher efficiency, it did fine thermally, at least on the outside of the case. The internal components may hit higher temperatures, but that's really beyond the scope of this video. The isolation of the adapter, at least in terms of leakage current, is also important. This prevents the AC mains electricity from getting to your body. Think tingling feeling from some adapters. It's important that this value is as low as possible to prevent safety issues and that tingling feeling you get when using devices that are plugged in. In this case, the leakage of this device was very low, which is a good thing. Specifically in a travel adapter, where you may not know exactly what voltage you are putting in, good isolation is crucial to keep devices and you protected. Another feature on this device is the built-in resettable fusing, so this device should not permanently break if you overload the current safety device. This is a nice feature to try and maintain some safety while using this adapter. Another travel adapter option is the 12 South adapter. This is the more conventional single-purpose adapter. It's a USB charger, so no AC outlets. But let's face it, most everything is USB-C now, so hopefully this covers it. The adapter comes with a really nice travel case, and this certainly could have some space for a few USB cables and some other odds and ends that you may need while traveling. It's bulkier than just chucking the bits in a backpack, which is totally what I do, but this is a nice addition, giving it a premium feel. This adapter comes with the slip-on plug adapters. These aren't compatible with ones from Invisi or Minix or other clones and are proprietary to this device, so if you lose them, you're out of luck. The adapter is a more slim-line design, which is often requested, and offers the USB sockets at a right angle, which is a smart design, with a little more power on offer, which is also welcome. When I found this thing, I was pretty excited and got really hopeful that it can be the #1 charger. If you are a long-term viewer, you already know what's coming. Hope only exists to be dashed, and this one does it with style. Before that though, this adapter comes with plugs for lots of places. It is a reasonable selection of adapters for a basic kit like this. The USB ports offer general compatibility with USB PD devices. It is different than other things I have looked at with 120 watts on one port, so I'm going to investigate that a little bit further. It says 120 watts on one USB-C port, and that is unique. That's something unusual, and I can test that. It does have the 28 volt maximum mode, so it can go above 100 watts on one port officially, but this means it is not going to do 120 watts for something like a Dell laptop. It's just a bit more for a MacBook or a power bank, so it maxes out at 4.3 amps or so on one port when in the 28 volt mode, and even says so on the product literature. It does renegotiate to lower voltages with plugs and unplugs. It's fairly quick, better than most at this. The unique feature on this device is it has a built-in Apple tracking tag thing, so you can use your Apple Find My to locate it. I wouldn't trust that as far as I can throw it from a random third-party supplier, but you know, there is no privacy anymore. It does have its own battery and little isolated module, so if you don't want it, take the battery out. The measurements of this device let it down. Like every other travel adapter I've looked at, they all perform worse. This claims DOE 6, doesn't meet it, not even close. Too many idle watts. The efficiency is as low as it can be, which if you've watched these videos before, you know what that means. Low efficiency means heat. Thermally, this adapter gets toasty at the outer surface. This isn't a surprise with the high power level and the lack of high efficiency. Interestingly, the adapter on the plug's surface facing side didn't get so hot, so they are getting some heat out and it did stay on. But yeah, hot potato. In terms of isolation, this adapter is kinda not great. I'd expect it to be best in class, being a worldwide traveler, and it's worse than the Zender. It's not what I'm looking for, at least. This is an area where Apple and Anker both do quite well. Okay, time to look at some other adapters. These adapters let you choose whatever power brick you want. There are so many out there, but there are some important basic features to look for. Number 1, check for ones that have a safety listing or some kind of compliance marking or claims that they've actually been tested with proof available. There are lots of jokers out there. A second thing to look for is whether or not the holes are wide open for accepting nearly any plug type, but also sacrificing safety. It's why these get the name Death Adapter. You can easily fit a lot of metal objects into these adapters, so these are definitely a no-go. This travel adapter offers shutters for the output side, so this is one step up. This is something to look for. It tries to maintain the electrical safety after the socket, so it is a bit better. Again, this is all risk management. Using any of these instantly makes the system less safe. The Amazon Basics ones don't try to be many things at once, also earning a safety listing, but the sockets do lack shutters, so be careful. There are so many other types of adapters. These come in all shapes and sizes, but looking for one with some kind of compliance mark, test standard, or some common sense shuttered sockets is important. The Zender has the plug shutters when not being used, but many cheaper ones don't. So possibly something to look for. But officially, it has no safety listing. Probably because the standards are too rigid, and this is a category that doesn't fit. The 12 South uses separate adapters that come with the charger. This means you don't need an extra adapter, but they are proprietary, so if you forget them or lose them, you're out of luck. I've used both of these types and generally found that everything works fine, but care is always necessary when working with AC main circuits, so be safe. For me, it's still the adapter or cable I need and then the brick I need. No all-in-one gets it yet. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.